Hi! This weekend saw the release of T2 Trainspotting. Well, that is if you live in a civilized country. That is a joke, of course, because it's only been released in the UK. T2 Trainspotting is obviously the sequel to the 1994 film Trainspotting. And normally I try to do little vlogs about things that have been in the media recently. Films in the cinema, pilots, TV shows that I really like, or sometimes apparently have a lot of issues with. This one time I spoke about a game and I would like to do more about that, but then I would have to dedicate more time to gaming and then writing about the gaming, aside from all the stuff I still have to do, because as you can see, that's just the one poster at the moment. When Trainspotting first came out in 1994, I couldn't see it in the cinema. No, I was far too young. Apparently there's even a moment in time where I was too young to see movies intended for 17 and up. But seeing as my parents were either not paying attention to what kind of media I was consuming as a little kid, or they quite literally thought, if he can handle it, he'll stay. If he can't, he'll run away. That's a brilliant approach to parenting in my opinion, but you know, I turned out fine. Like I said, normally I try to do like quick vlogs about recent things just to get stuff out of my head, and I have a very confused head. This is the first time I'm trying to tackle something with a little bit more preparation. I didn't upload anything last week, so I did something I don't normally do. I watched Trainspotting, trying to get ready for this video, and then I watched it another 3 times. And to me that emphasises how much this film means to me. It's not like I base my identity around it. It's not like it's my cult or the one true church or the Danny Boyle. But it is so fucking good. This is Danny Boyle from before anybody really knew who he was. Before your 28 days later, your lives of pie and your slumdog millionaires and your sunshines and your trances and the beaches. Okay, maybe not the beach, but you know, relatively unknown. And Ewan McGregor, who was he back in those days? He wasn't Obi-Wan Kenobi yet. It's a Channel 4 Productions. Channel 4 is, you know, a channel in the UK. It's pretty big. It's probably the biggest commercial channel they have. No means is it a huge corporation that made gigantic films. Yet here we are, 20 years later, and the film is getting a sequel. And before you go to me like, oh, why is it only coming out now? We'll get to that. Trainspotting is such a simple film, but it makes you invested in the characters, and that's the greatness of it, because none of these guys are anybody you want to be associated with in real life. Drug use and drug abuse are prominent returning key elements of the film, and it's not romanticised. It shows you how bad things can go for people like this. The main character, Mark Renton, as played by Ewan McGregor, is always succumbing to his addiction. The other's Spud as well. He's even worse off than him. Then you have Simon Sickboy, who's increasingly portrayed as somebody who would go to further and further lengths just, you know, to get a bit of money. And then you have Francis Begbie. And Francis Begbie, as fun as the character may be to watch on film, Robert Carlyle does a brilliant job of him. He is the absolute worst. He's a psychopath. He's actually the biggest criminal out of the bunch as well. Robberies, assault, and very often with bladed weapons or glassing somebody right in the face. And if you don't know what glassing is, well, Google Glasgow Grim and then get back to me. Don't Google that. So you have a group of druggies and losers, but this is what the film brings us as our main protagonists, and you can't help but laugh and feel connected to them, despite the fact that if you knew these people in real life, you'd be on a first name basis with most of the police officers in your town. But that's what makes this film so great. Irvine Welsh, the writer of the book that the movie is based on, is so great in fleshing out characters and giving you insight in them and wanting you to get to know them, despite the fact that 99% of them are all pure scum. And if you think to yourself like, oh, that name sounds familiar, I may have heard it before recently, well, the 2013 film Filth, yeah, was based on his writing as well. And it's really weird that I've got Filth out in the bookcase and I have yet to find out where Trainspotting or the sequel book is in all the boxes and crates that I still have to unpack. I've been living here for about 2 months and I still have stuff in boxes. Yeah. Trainspotting is a little bit like the book, not completely. The book is more like a bundle of stories where every chapter or so we change the viewpoint of the narrator and we get a different character talking about different things that he's experiencing or she's experiencing in her life. Now what the film has done is take the one perspective that appears the most to Mark Renton and try and create a single narrative in it. The story essentially coming down to a man trying to escape from a situation which is not completely unlike a bucket of crabs. Everything in this film revolves around drugs and the aftermath of the addiction. Like I indicated before, it's not a pretty picture, it's not romanticised in any way. It's joked around, it's joked about. Somewhere in the middle of the film, Mark Renton takes a hit of heroin and we're treated to a very bleak perspective of him overdosing on it.
Just a perfect day. Drink sangria.
And subsequently, him being forced by his parents to kick the habit. One of the more memorable scenes in the entire film. That's saying something for the film that features the most disgusting toilet in Scotland. In essence, the film still has segments that makes up a whole, a bit like how the Addams Family movie works. Like your initial addiction, your love lives, trying to figure out what to do with yourself as soon as drugs are out of the picture. And in the end, the drug deal gone bad that closes up the film. And it wasn't until I saw it for the 4th time, and this was last night, I realised that the ending actually comes very out of nowhere. There is no build up to it. There are events leading up to it, but there's nothing that actually kicks it off like you would normally expect in a film. In essence, if it wasn't for such a strong cast, this film could have easily just fallen apart and not have had anybody interested in it. But it just works seamlessly. On one of my repeated viewings, I also noticed that the movie is very rarely ever quiet. There's always a song going on in the background, and unlike some movies, which I won't mention because some people are very defensive about comic book movies, which are not as good as they should be, every song in this film just works. It has everything going for it. The scene with Mark and Spud are running from what I assume are store security personnel. It's a very fast-paced and excited music because it's the introduction of the film, and we cut away at one point, get information about other aspects of his life. Revisiting the scene later in the film where, leading up to the overdose, Mark is desperate for cash and is just mucking about with his life, and even though it's the same scene, same circumstances, the music has changed and it indicates what's going on now.
Sooner or later, this kind of thing was bound to happen.
Leading from that, his overdose is accompanied by Lou Reed's Perfect Day, and despite the song itself being, well, the lyrics are at least happy, this movie has made me forever tied to that. So I always feel really cynical and depressed when I hear that song because I tie it to ideas of suicide and death, because that's essentially what this boils down to in this film. The scene afterwards when Mark is going cold turkey it's accompanied by a very awkward trance number, and it doesn't give you time to be comfortable because, well, the main guy of the film is not being comfortable. Like I said, the film rarely ever goes quiet, but when it does, you know something's going on. The first time I noticed is when Mark gets caught by the security staff. The second time is when he realises Francis Begbie is at his new flat in London. And the third time is when Francis Begbie just straight up glasses a man in a pub for accidentally spilling his pint. All the whole, I am so happy this film exists. I used to have the DVD, and it's probably the only Blu-ray that I ever bought because who buys physical copies of things nowadays? I read the book in high school. I did a presentation on the book in conjunction with the movie about the differences in adaptations for my English class. Yes, and if you don't remember, I'm actually not English. I bought the sequel book as soon as I heard it came out, and I even got the gaudy pink cover with a giant blow-up doll on the front, because if your book's called Porno, just fucking own it. I bought The Blade Artist. The Blade Artist came out last year. It's probably like the only good thing to come out of 2016 for me. I say that when I'm living in my new house. I even had a mate in England send me the big issue, and the big issue, if you're watching this and you don't know what a big issue is, it's like a homeless paper. The homeless people sell these in order to get money so they can afford a place to stay that night. It's the big issue here as an interview with Irvine Welsh about T2 Trainspotting, and I am so happy that this sequel exists because now we got to talk about that. Remember when I said way back, like 15 minutes of your time ago, I think, that why did the sequel only come out now? True, there's a lot of things that have been getting remakes and reboots and spin-off sequels, like Mad Max came back recently with Tom Brady, and RoboCop had a remake, and Terminator Genesis, and none of those are very good. Well, Mad Max was, but you know, Hollywood knows what your interests are, and it knows you know things by name. So obviously they're trying to bring things back that have name recognition, so people go like, oh, maybe we could check this out. The key difference here with Trainspotting 2 is the book, Porno, actually takes place about 20 years after the events of Trainspotting. All the characters have aged, and that's probably why they waited for so long. Granted, Irvine Welsh said before that he didn't think the movie would get greenlit in 2002. Well, Danny Boyle by then was still doing 28 Days Later, and even though that's a great film, it didn't, you know, cement him as the true director god that people think he is nowadays after Slumdog Millionaire. So the sequel only coming out now is actually very close to the idea of the source material, because T2 is partially based on it, and I'm happy with that, because Porno as well, it's another set of short stories, but I trust these people, I trust the director, I trust Irvine Welsh. The movie has going through so much lengths that Mark Renton's parents are showing up in it, and they're the same actor and actress who played his parents in the Trainspotting film. Basically, T2 is Ewan McGregor and Robert Carlyle, like the only actors who came out of the film who have so much clout they could literally be doing anything else, and everybody else who's probably known the best for Trainspotting. Like, I love you, Ewan Bremner, but nobody remembers you from Pearl Harbor. So yeah, I wanted to share this with you. It's like, I have so much love for this film. It is so good. And if you have trouble understanding Scottish accents, don't worry, there's an American cut out there for the United States that actually dubbed over the original 30 minutes of the film, that allows people to have a transitioning period where they go from a more English accents slowly building up towards the actual Scottish accents used in the film. Yeah, I'm not joking, this is a real thing. In closing, I love Trainspotting so much. Like I said, I watched it several times in 1 week and I'm still not tired of it. I could watch it again right now, and I'm filming this at like 11:30 PM on a Saturday. God, what am I doing with my life? And I hope from the bottom of my heart, in the most sincere way I could say, that Trainspotting 2 does well. I don't expect it to be as good as the original, but I hope it's going to be at least half as good, and I'll walk out the cinema, you know, satisfied. If you have any opinions about Trainspotting, please feel free to leave a comment down below, especially if you think I'm a stupid idiot who shouldn't be talking about things he doesn't understand, like heroin. Social medias as well. I have a Facebook page, I have a Twitter account, I've got a Tumblr, and I've got a LinkedIn page. Why have I got a LinkedIn page? I probably still have a MySpace as well, but you shouldn't visit any of those social media things because you get addicted to those, and we all know what addiction does to you. So yeah, until next time, it might just be a little bit more off the cuff again. You know, if this is better, just, you know, let me know. If it's not, don't let me know. Really, I've noticed right now I am a lot more happier than I am usually. Is this what human beings experience as positivity?